This is like my childhood. Just set back about.
There's like 4 or 5 memes that I'm kind of like holding on to, like in like dear life.
By the way, whoever made that caricature thing out there,
how fresh is that?
Our guy.
Our Cleveland guy here. I'm not fat enough.
Dude, you've gotten really skinny.
No, but
I loved when you were fat.
So did I. I got to eat whatever I wanted.
I thought that was great.
And
you were an inspiration for a generation.
I was.
Now you're just
I had a major glow up.
Super cool on Instagram. I'm just like, this guy's like too good now. All right, we good?
Not good.
Not yet. 2 more. What episode is that?
318.
318. How you feeling?
I feel great. Yeah, really good. Although this weekend in the city was
hot as fuck.
Yeah, you were here?
I was out east.
We still haven't had our big basketball game.
I know. My 6-year-old son is getting so weirdly good at basketball. So I have really, really good hand-eye coordination and pretty much nothing else. Yeah. So like, that's why like the first time I played darts, like I stunned good player, like hand-eye coordination. Yeah. And watching him have it, but I came from Russia. My dad worked every minute. There was like no context of like any grooming. I was the oldest. Like I had no shot. Like I was all like me. So like the fact that he already knows that he will never dunk in his life, like it's crazy. For like weeks he cried. Like I talk a lot about modern parenting of like delusion and everything like that shit. And I'm like so proud that I'm eating my own dog food. Like watching my little 6-year-old who I love like uncomfortably cry for like 20 minutes when I was like, bro, you will never dunk. 20 minutes.
But when you're that young, you obsess about it.
Yeah, and he's
I remember patting the glass.
Yeah, but you were actually gonna dunk. Like he like is doing it, but like now, like the amount my son's Euro step, left hand and jump shot.
Great.
Dude, he actually almost beat me in Papa shot. Like this weekend. He scored 29. Like he just jays.
Wait, is he a lefty too?
I'm trying to make. I'm like
breaking
breaking his. I just broke his right hand. Like I'm like really like fucking like psycho dad. Like he's only lefty, only Euro step, only jump shot, and already completely breaking. Like his poor first grade class, they all know they'll never dunk because he got it into his head, and he's like there, and now he's just spitting it to them, and they're all like just baffled. Like why can't we ever dunk? It's just a wild scene, but it's like where I was going. Like like. We need to do it because you coming over, like shooting with him, like we'll be like He probably knows more about your career than you do. Like all he does is sit on 10 hours of iPad memorizing stats of every. I don't even want to talk to him about sports because he genuinely knows more than me. Yeah. In just his own life. All right. What is it? 318. Hey everybody, this is Gary Bay, Nerd Chuck, and this is episode 318 of the Ask Gary V show, and this is an episode I've been waiting for a long, long time. Not only do I admire this man for what he does in his profession, but watching him evolve, the words that come out of his mouth over the last 2 to 3 years has been inspiring to me. It's really endeared me to him. I've really enjoyed tons of banter over the last 18 months we've done on DM. I super love dapping him up on the court in the garden. Not far from here.
We're going to drop that.
And then and he also like guaranteed that they were going to win and everything was okay with 2 minutes to go, and then that's what happened. I'm just been watching him a lot, admire him, love a lot about him, and looking forward to getting to know him much more on my personal level, but wanted to give him the platform and the opportunity. I got really excited the other day with somebody else I like a lot. We didn't get the phone calls. I promise I'm going to stay very committed. We will get the calls in. So if you're watching right now on Instagram, we're going to take the numbers from YouTube and Facebook. YouTube, Facebook, if you got a question for Kevin Love, who is our guest today, extraordinary NBA talent, but unbelievably exciting emerging voice for many things that I'm passionate about in society, is our guest. If you have questions for him about anything that we talk about, please put your phone number and a little bit of a preview of your question. Andy will be picking them, put it into YouTube or Facebook. I know Instagram, I know you guys are watching, and I know that's where most people are watching. So I highly recommend you switching over to Facebook and YouTube for your questions if you are passionate enough. Kev, thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me. It's been a long time coming.
It's super long time coming. Before we get into anything else, I love origin stories like comic book number one. Spit the 3 or 4 minutes of like who you are.
Who am I? Well, I grew up in a basketball family. I heard you talking about your son, 6 years old. The ball was placed in my hand at a very early age. I had a father who came from Inglewood, California, went to Morningside High School. Byron Scott, Lisa Leslie. Went to the University of Oregon, played in the league for 5 years. Was around my uncle who was in rock and roll, Michael of the Beach Boys. So he had a little bit of. He got to play for the LA Lakers, and then in the summertime he got to travel around with the Beach Boys. But
Best life ever.
Best life ever. It's probably why.
What years did he
It
play?
only lasted like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
That was
so
probably
Beach Boys,
exactly.
I get it.
Exactly. Well, he was before his time. He was, I think it was 71. He was drafted ninth by the Baltimore Bullets. Yeah, and actually on his draft card it said "good jumper for a white guy."
No way.
I didn't have that.
I get it. Wait. 71 to the Bulls. That was big time teams.
That was a big time. Wes Unseld.
Yeah.
Right, my middle name.
The
Wes
Pearl.
is Wesley.
Yeah.
After Wes Unseld.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
Pearl, exactly. And then he played on. He played with. I'm trying to think on the Lakers. Connie Hawkins, Gail Goodrich, Elmore Smith blocked 17 shots in the game.
By the way, Connie Hawkins, I'm just, I like to interrupt, so let's get used to it. Like,
Yeah.
Connie Hawkins is one of the most interesting all-time basketball players, in my opinion.
Well, his story, one time, origin
I mean,
stories.
fucking blackballed from the league for gambling.
Insane.
Dr. J basically co-signs him as like, I'm Dr. J,
Yeah.
he's a Connie Hawkins.
No, he was basically MJ or Dr. J before those guys. I mean, he was the guy. My dad used to tell me he would pick it off the ground, either hand, go up, and it was. Just put it down. He was
Anyway,
unbelievable.
So it was like it was destiny from the get for you.
Pretty much, yeah. Like I said, the ball
And did
was.
you love it? Or
Always
did you learn
loved it.
to always love
And
it?
I was a kid. I remember telling my best friend's dad. He likes to
Tell the story.
tell the story of me coming back from my first day. We lived right across the street from each other, and he would say, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "I'm going to be." It was just so matter of fact that I taught myself, or I really spoke it into existence.
But he as a dad didn't laugh at that the same way, given the DNA, right?
Given the DNA,
Yeah.
he was around those teams when we were young in Portland, where it was Rick Alderman was the coach.
Yep.
It was Terry Porter.
The Duck.
The Duck. Oh,
Yeah.
the Duck was
The Duck is
a
amazing.
monster. It was only for
Cliff
sure.
Robinson is a
Cliff
rookie from
Robinson.
UConn.
Yep. Terry Porter.
You have to understand why I know those teams so well. So literally the human that I hate the most on earth is Michael Jordan. Like, number one on my list. Brady's a close second.
Sure.
And that's completely predicated on my Jets Knicks
Yeah,
love.
I was gonna say.
And I don't understand Knick fans in their 40s that like MJ. I really don't. I genuinely don't. I
Right.
don't understand it.
So did you guys for years over there?
I don't understand it. Like, respect is different.
Right.
Please let there be no confusion. I understand who the player was.
Mhm.
But fuck that.
Right.
So, you don't know how much I love those those Blazer teams, because I prayed to God that they could figure
Oh
out how
yeah,
to beat
in the
them.
finals
Yeah.
and all those times they faced them. But it's interesting to me. You talk about MJ, like how. Same thing with Braun. Like what guys would have taken that next step?
See, the funny thing
To
is
be
that obviously you played
the guy.
Well, it's funny, and obviously you played with him. Like, I love Braun mainly because the day I heard of him when he was like fucking 16, immediately, no different than Felipe Lopez, which went in a different direction,
Sure.
or anybody else that even begins a conversation of a chance to be better than MJ. Like, my heart and soul, I've never, when you guys won that title, like, I hate every team but mine.
Sure.
But that win against Golden State was probably the most excited I've been for any other team but mine, because I knew that it would add momentum to getting the debate with LeBron and
for
MJ.
sure.
That I knew how big of a historic win that would be
Huge.
for the debate.
Yeah, and it was unprecedented. I mean, I can remember, speaking of stories, I can remember we were in Oakland. We went to their practice facility, Golden State Warriors, and it was the one, Clay Thompson had started talking about how they were better than the Showtime Lakers. And,
Yeah, I remember.
that was kind of a shot at
I
his
remember,
dad as well.
I remember.
I grew up
Yes,
with Clay.
yes.
So we're going over the Bay Bridge, and that commentary is just still picking up. It's on Twitter, it's on Instagram, it's on all these social
Sports
platforms.
radio. Yep.
Oh, sports radio, everything.
crazy.
And that's when Bron just said, he looked around and goes, "You know what, guys? It's written. We're going to win tomorrow night. We're going to have a huge game. It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to the last few minutes. We're not losing at home. Game 7, anything can happen." That's how it played out.
It's crazy.
It still gives me chills thinking about it.
The crazy part back, we're going to bounce back high level, but we're super narrow. I had to go to Cannes in France, which is the big market. It's like the Super Bowl for marketing companies. I was on a flight to Cannes during that Game 7, and literally, for some reason, everybody went on Wi-Fi, but for some reason, my phone, because I don't have a laptop,
Sure.
like my phone was getting the update play-by-play on ESPN faster by like a tenth of a second than everybody else around me, and everybody was like, and it's overnight, and you gotta get sleep because the next day in France, it's the next day, and you gotta go.
No.
Nobody's sleeping.
There's nothing like sports.
And
You
I'm
gotta
like
watch that.
literally like standing like it was insane to play that whole fourth quarter on your phone, getting update by update by update. And by the way, a lot of people that go to Canada from San Francisco, tech companies and all that.
Sure.
By the way, on the record, 98% of Warrior fans are straight fucking bandwagon. Big shout out to Jim Lanzone from CBS Interactive. You're the one true fucking Warriors fan that I know. All you fuckers at Facebook and Google and Uber, you motherfuckers didn't even know Golden State was in San Francisco a decade ago. I was there. Fuck you. You don't know if Mitch Richmond took a shit on your face, you wouldn't know who he was. So get the fuck out of here with your bullshit bandwagon fandom.
You're raising a little Chris Mullin too, so.
Yeah, man, dude. They don't know fucking Tim Hardaway, Chris Mullin.
No.
They don't know anything about that shit. So anyway, a little pent up Knicks anger to start this shit. Kev, go way back. So you're playing, and you're just good always, or not?
Always good.
Always good.
I was always big. And we talked about it before we came on. Like,
size matters in basketball.
I was a big kid. Yeah, size mattered, but I always had the skill. Like my dad had the foresight to know where the game was going. He put the ball in my hands, wanted me to play all 5 positions, but he also wanted me to shoot from deep. Like I think my dad was ahead of his time. He was he is 6'9", and he was about 210 pounds, 205 pounds. I was, 6'9", 280 at one point. And no, he was really ahead of his time.
What was your favorite junk food?
Say it again.
Like when you were fat, right? Which was like.
See, I was just a glutton for the sake of being a glutton. It wasn't like I had anything in particular.
Did you go on tilt the other way and say like, "Oh, these people think I'm out of shape. I'm just going to go even worse and still ball on them"?
Yeah,
I believe that. I actually understand that.
So I was.
That's literally my hot take on this whole issue.
Naismith actually was a little subtle brag here, not so subtle. I was National Athlete of the Year my senior year.
Yeah,
if you looked at me, it would just
stun you.
It would stun you.
Yeah.
You would look at it.
I wish social media was further along back then because I think you would have made some ridiculous content. Like squeezing your gut and like just doing dumb like 15-year-old shit.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because I have no shame in that stuff. Like especially now you talk about.
Well, by the way, I apologize, but that's where we're about to go. Like I think some of the things you're talking about, like when you started talking about mental health issues and other things you've talked about, like when I watch you from afar, I'm like, that's really good parenting, really good DNA, and really good circumstance because that kid is not insecure. We have insecure. Well, that's right. That's the manifestation of it.
Sure.
So, like, there's the things back to your weight maybe you weren't insecure about that people thought.
Yeah.
Clearly, there were things you were insecure about. We all are.
For sure.
But this is the manifestation of you evolving to closing the gaps in certain parts of your insecurity.
Yeah. And you're so susceptible to change early on. That's why I think with anything mental health related, whether it be, because I was saying, kill the body and the mind dies. Like, so many kids early on now are just killing their bodies. Just to the extent of, you're seeing more.
To look good, to be a good athlete, to have like all the weird shit you see where like a 6-year-old has a 6-pack.
Yeah, no, it's really crazy. Kids are picking up weights earlier on, the load on their body. They're specializing in sport earlier on. And I have no problem with that. I played basketball and baseball. There came a point in time where my dad was like, okay,
yeah, but
you're going to be what, Randy Johnson? You're not left-handed. You don't have a mullet. It's just not going to be
good. I think you could fucking rock it.
I could fucking rock a good ball. And I would be like a David Wells where I'd probably pitch hungover and do it perfectly. And I'd be in a Yankee uniform and that would be incredible.
But to your point, right, like how, literally I said this, I spoke to the Rutgers football team this morning, and one of the things I was talking to one of the coaches on the way out is, literally this is not a joke, and this is going to be really meta. I've been thinking a lot about like, this question I get asked a lot, which is like, what business, if I, like, much like I started VaynerMedia when I was done with the wine thing, and like just literally started at scratch, and it was left field for me to build this coming from the wine world, what business would I start? And I can't stop thinking about this one thing. The number one business, as of this moment, that I would start in the world is something in youth athletics, because the utter delusion of every parent, that 99.9% of parents that are listening to this podcast right now are so fucking delusional that they think their kid is going to the league when they have no prayer. Like, America, your kid is not playing shortstop in baseball. Pay attention. Like, what is the matter with you?
Sure.
Like, literally, I'm like, I'm going to build a fucking billion-dollar business exploiting the fact that people are taking kids that will never play college sports and training them like they're going to be fucking LeBron. Delusion. And that's why a lot of kids are going too early to one sport, because their mom and dad are saying, if you want to get to the league, we need to decide down. And instead of kids being happy and well-rounded, their parents are fucking brainwashing them that they're going to be on the fucking World Cup soccer team, but they have to give up football, basketball, Fortnite, happiness, and fucking everything else. Meanwhile, that kid sucks. No, really, and I mean it. I want to use sucks, because I'm hoping one parent listens and is like, actually, you know what? that might be true.
Yeah. No, I have no problem with saying that. I'm with you on that. I'm tired of all these participation trophies, people, families that think their kids are that good. Listen, I believe that youth sports is a great way to transition into life, because it teaches you people skills. It teaches you either how to be a leader or a follower, or being able to follow, then turning into many different things, and segues you into different, really a lot of different.
Sports is good because you lose.
It teaches you.
And we're trying to fuck up sports in America by not letting kids lose.
Exactly. And it's terrible. I was just at the Aspen Ideas Conference, and we had talked about that. There was a lot of scowls out there, and I imagine those are the parents that are the ones that you're talking about.
I went to Brilliant Minds in Stockholm. It was super fancy.
Yeah.
And I went out there and gave a 10-minute straight from the hip first time talk around entitlement. And let me promise you what went through everybody's mind.
Yeah.
I suck. Because you can't because we're raising zoo animals. Like, listen, I wish I was in the league. You think I want to sit courtside and watch? You don't want to fucking play. But self-awareness kicked in.
I would have found the shit out.
Yeah, I would have found I'm the weirdest.
Yeah.
I actually would, like...
I would turn into Oak, and I would just...
I'm 94 Knicks now. Like, there's guys that play with me here. Like, I'm trying to hurt people in pickup games. Hurt. Now.
Yeah.
My own employees and friends. Like me and AJ, my brother, can't play in the same team in our pickup games anymore because within the first 30 seconds, everyone's on tilt.
So you basically created your own Jordan rules for the people that you work with? They come in the
by the way, let's educate the youngsters. Like, want to remind everybody about
I'm sorry, I don't know the demographic. I'm assuming it's...
it skews all over the place, but a lot of young people watch me have no idea that Jordan often was positioned in the mid to late 80s as never having a chance to win a championship. Never going to get through the Pistons, ball hog, this and that. And, like, literally some of my last enjoyable moments was watching, like, clotheslining Jordan, Pistons sweep. Like, I love that they walk. I know that they get shit on for walking off after the Bulls finally got through them.
Sure.
I love it. Fuck him. Let him have no enjoyment.
Yeah.
Anyway, nonetheless, let's not get sidetracked too much. We've been alluding to it. Obviously, you have this great career. Let's talk about for 5 seconds your recruitment to where you played college ball.
Sure.
Because I have a really funny story that I think I might have once told you on DM or a call. I don't know if I've gone to a significant college basketball game in the last 15 years. It's just the nature of how busy I am. But ironically, Omid Ashtari, I hope you're listening or watching right now, Omid, real good friend of mine who worked at CAA, took me to a UCLA game. Like, somehow, in this one weird window, I went to a game. And it was your freshman year. Wow. And I remember, like, watching... I don't recall. I don't want to bullshit it. But I just recall, like, the three of you were standing out to me. Yeah. Collison and Russ. And I remember, like, that, like, he was super pumped. He's like, these fucking freshmen, they're going to be fucking awesome. They're going to make a real run in the tournament. Because I'm so busy, the one thing I mandate at VaynerMedia is that every employee fills out a bracket for March Madness, and then the winner gets a huge prize. It's like a company-wide thing. I'm fucking crazy about it. But I'm so busy, I'm headline reading for my picks. And I remember that Omid brainwashed me about you and your crew, so I had you guys going super fucking far. Like, I think I had you losing in the finals, so I was super pissed when you guys underperformed. So there's that. However, let's talk about how you got to UCLA. Like, was it always them? Was there, like, always them? Did something weird happen? I'm fascinated by the recruitment.
So, you go back to the origin story here to back up. My dad actually played at Morningside High School. Jim Herrick, the great Jim Herrick, was his assistant coach at Morningside High School. So they would play one-on-one, they go back and forth. And, those great teams like the 95 National Championship.
Yep.
The Bannon brothers, Tyus Edney, 4.8 seconds to get to the Final Four. So, UCLA
was it the following year
always,
where they lost to Princeton, or the year before? I'm confused.
I'm not certain.
All I remember is I picked Princeton in my bracket, and they stunned them, and like I was a hero for a day on campus. That's like the Richmond Spiders upset that I picked against Cuse my freshman year of high school. I wrote it on the blackboard before every class.
I mean, Cuse always finds a way. Jim Boeheim, they always, no, I'm just kidding.
So you were always destined to go there?
I feel like I was. I mean, Oregon was always in my backyard.
You always considered it a little bit?
Always. And Nike, I mean, it was just like Phil Knight. I lived everything. If you're from Oregon.
But from a pedigree standpoint, unlike football.
And my dad went to University of Oregon. So that was I grew up going to the football games.
So was it close?
It was close between North Carolina, where it was Roy Williams, and they had just come off winning a national championship a couple years prior.
Was that a part of you doing shit like, hey, it might be cool to be on the East Coast? I've always been a West Coast kid.
And it was the Duke UNC rivalry.
You want to get into that?
The ACC was
of course,
unbelievable. But UCLA had been to 2 straight Final Fours at the time. Ben Hallen was very good at teaching his guys and having his guys go to the next level and have success. And I think that continued. Remind me
where we were in the high school, coming straight out of high school versus
2 years removed.
From
I think 2005
right?
was the
so
last
you
year.
Had to go.
Had to go, but that probably would have gone out.
You would have, flat out.
Flat out.
Did you fundamentally know you were going to be one and done?
Yes, always.
Okay.
Yeah, there was no secret. So they came down to UCLA and North Carolina, and finally Kerry Keating, who was assistant coach there at the time, still heavily involved in California, not only athletics but basketball as well. He just said, we're doing this. I remember I was at a tournament in Vegas where they had 500.
He just went for kill.
He played five games on fucking
He
Sunday,
found the right moment?
And, he found the right moment. I was like, okay, you got me. Committed to UCLA. Ended up going, that was my rising senior year. Ended up going to UCLA and made best friends with Russell Westbrook, and we just talked about how we were going to the NBA every single day.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
You guys did it.
We did. And 4 and 5 things. Pretty cool.
Very,
and we're roommates.
Cool. It's real cool.
Yeah.
Real cool. So, what's the, just as a random question, because I really want to get into some of the off-the-court stuff. What was the biggest surprise? You had a dad that was in the league, you're groomed for this, the pedigree, it's fucking 24/7, even when it wasn't, it's running in the background. What was the biggest surprise?
There is nothing you can do to prepare for
the speed,
the grind, but playing in Texas against Dirk or Tim Duncan, flying back home on a back-to-back in Minnesota and playing KG in the Boston Celtics. There's just nothing you can do. You're playing 2 games a week in college. In the tournament, you're playing Thursday, Saturday, Thursday, Sunday, and then you wait to the next week, and then you go to the Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four.
Right, so not only is it the volume and speed at which games come at you, you're also playing against the best fucking players in the world.
And we had we had lottery picks, we had guys that were first rounders, guys that had huge success in the league, in the Pac-10 at the time, Pac-12 now, but there's nothing you can do to emulate that. I played Dirk and Tim Duncan within the first 5 games of my career. Tony Parker put up 55 points on us. I'm like, this is the NBA? So I got...
Right, because meanwhile, you're 5 minutes away from playing a video game with Tony Parker, and he's not that fast.
100%. Yeah, exactly. And that's what we did. Is we played video games all the time in our locker room at UCLA. And we're I'm gonna pick, Bron, and okay, I'm gonna pick, the Lakers. I'm gonna be Kobe here. And then you get there, and it's like, okay, Kobe's putting 40 on us every single time, and there's nothing you can do. He'll tell you right straight to your face. He goes, "You guys don't have a chance." It's Friday night, and I'm the show.
Who's the one player that you tucking in, you're checking in, you get on the court, and then you actually see him, and was actually the biggest response you had, whether it was something funny, an inside joke because you remember being at a camp, or whether it was Kobe, and you're like, fuck, this is actually Kobe. It's not
100%. Yeah, Kobe. Because there's just, and this is no disrespect to Bron, because he brings them out too. There's that energy in the gym. You get everybody's best game.
Yeah.
Your whole mindset shifts too when you get on a team like that. We were a super team, and we were a team that was expected to go to the finals, expected to have the potential to win a championship.
Yeah.
But when I first got into the league, Kobe Bryant, it didn't matter if it was a soft Tuesday in Minneapolis. Kobe's bringing them out.
Yeah.
There's a buzz in the city that Kobe is there.
Yeah, and the worst part, which I still want to punch every person in the building when I'm there, Kobe drops the first bucket, it's 2-0 Lakers at Minnesota, and 73% of the audience is cheering.
Oh no, it was it's a Minneapolis Lakers. It's a home game for them. But it's like everywhere they went.
This is why it's great that I ended up being a fucking professional athlete, because at 2-0 when Kobe hits that jump shot, I'm running back down the court, trying to argue with fans, fuck you, leave.
Right.
I hate visiting fans. When I go to visiting games as a Jets fan, I don't say a word.
I'm trying to think of who you would what's looking in a mirror for you.
Ron Artest meets whatever the worst things that have ever happened in sports.
Yeah.
That
that.
Because I'm willing. Like, it
so
gets
you were like speaking of Randy Johnson in the Seattle Mariners, like you were like a Lou Piniella. You take out the base and you throw this shit.
I get to it. Not in love. What's crazy is not in like in business. People like steal $1 million from me. I'm like, phew. And that's why I have to be careful to not project. Maybe what I hate about being a fan is I'm not in control. You know, like when I'm in control, like the CEO of this company, everything bad, easy. Maybe I'm just frustrated as a fan, like fuck, like, you know, like, right? Like maybe that's what it is. So maybe I actually am completely full of shit. It's completely the other way when I would actually be on the court or field. But no, because when we play, I'm like crazy.
So speaking of out of control, though,
what's that?
You elbow us. You put like your foot underneath.
Yeah, like a step. Like,
yeah.
I don't like when you're not. Like here's my thought: when you're not.
And he's been begging me this whole time to come out and play some ball.
I'm always scared because while you're still, when you retire, it'll be easier.
Okay,
Because like,
yeah.
when you're acting, I'm like, fuck, what if I get weird? Like then it's like then people actually found out the real story and be like, oh, fuck that. Like, I'm always like I invite jet players over and we hang and like somebody's I'm like, fuck, I better be careful because actually care.
I'm gonna be taking HGH and testosterone at that time. I'm gonna have rage fits and just go after you.
Let's jump to it because I don't want it to get away from us. Let's talk about some of the things you've been talking about.
Sure.
Some of the things you're passionate about because I think it's uncomfortably important, and I think you're building momentum. Just like I think about so many people that have brought so much value, whether it's Kurt Flood or Jackie Robinson, you know, color barriers, or just all these things. You know, watching some of the stuff Kyle Korver's talking about.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about what I believe you and a couple others have started the momentum conversation. For a lot of people that don't even know where I'm going, set it up for me. Give me the context of the backstory.
Yeah, it's I mean everything that you're alluding to is mental health related. I dealt with not only panic attacks but anxiety and depression my entire life. It's just something that I've always dealt with. I suffered silently until I was 29 years old. I had an in-game panic attack against the Atlanta Hawks on November 5th. It was a scary moment. A lot had been going just devastatingly wrong in my life, and that last pillar to fall was basketball.
That was always your safe place.
It was always my safe place.
Makes sense.
It was a place, it's escapism. Everybody's looking for their escape.
My work is mine too.
Exactly. You work and you know, for some people it can be whatever their vice is. It could be drugs and alcohol.
That's right.
It could be, you know, exhausting their body, like Robin Williams. That was it for him.
Yep.
Yeah, with Kate Spade, who ended up taking her life, it was her work.
Yep.
You know, it was everything that she stood for and her image.
Yep.
And that was a big reason that she ended up, you know, not coming out and saying what she dealt with because she was just afraid what it was going to do for her brand and her image. So I had an in-game panic attack. It was a really scary moment for me. I talked at length about it, where I actually thought I was having cardiac arrest, and I was you know, looking for something that wasn't there. I'd always had places to go. Like I wasn't kidding about the rage fits. Like I know I said testosterone, all that shit when I'm done playing, but when I was young, that's how it manifested. Because I didn't really know how I was feeling. I didn't know. I knew what the depression was more so. Like I wouldn't come out of bed for 2 weeks. I would play my basketball, and I would go into my room, and like my brother would say. It was funny, a couple weeks after I had written the Players Tribune article and discussed that everybody's going through something, he was like, oh yeah, we would just wait for you to be Kevin again.
But straight up 2 weeks.
Oh yeah. No, I have had moments where it had been, there's little triggers here and there where I've developed a new relationship with both my anxiety and depression, but it was, it could last months at a time. So I dealt with that.
That's one thing if it's overlaying. It's another thing if you're like physically locking yourself in a room for 2 weeks.
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
So I would go in there.
I think everybody here is walking on earth with pressures, anxieties, concerns, doubts.
Yeah, and you find ways to hide it. Like my best friends didn't even know. Like I would hide.
But how do they not know, Kevin, a 2 week? Like that's where I'm actually going. Like how would a best friend not know that you're locked up in 2 weeks? Or are you saying every moment I had that I didn't have to go to school or practice, I just run to the room? Or are you saying 2 weeks I'm out and like I may pretend I was sick?
Basically. I mean, there were times when I either wouldn't go to school or, you know, in class I would just be like super quiet. Everybody has their moments with their friends, their girlfriends at that time. There's nothing like, you know, young love, that sort of thing. But no, this was...
You seem super young in love these days.
Oh, yeah. I'm chasing that a little bit. No, it's fun. Yeah, so when I was young, I just
love it.
Yeah.
Makes me smile. It's good. It's really romantic shit, to be honest.
When you
I
travel,
think Kate loves Instagram. Like, probably the most romantic gram right now that I follow.
is it, what, you talking about me and Kate, or me?
No, you
my
and yourself.
dog?
Yes, you.
My dog.
No, I know. But like,
fucking puppy is
everybody knows I'm
legit.
not the biggest fan of dogs. Like, that's a whole little meme in itself. No, you.
That's another podcast.
Yeah, that's a whole fuck. I just got drilled right now on the live stream. But go ahead.
No, so
Yes, you and Kate, you guys are like, it's super cute.
yeah, it's good for my mental health.
I believe it.
No, it really is.
I believe it.
And the traveling and the wine. And,
Yes.
But no, I think it came to a point where I was done suffering silently.
Good for you.
I mean, I had such terrible
I
bouts
kind
of
of
depression.
missed the Hawks game. Like, was it? Now I'm starting to remember like subtle things, but I can't drill it. Like, everybody, like, what happened?
Nobody knew. That's the craziest part. So yeah, let me back up.
So what did you asked out of the game?
Yeah, so it was after halftime and we were down. We losing to the Hawks, and I mean, let's just call
That
it
in itself
the Hawks. The Hawks were
that
very
itself.
good.
Now I understand.
So we were like 3-9 at the time. I mean, you can look it up.
Yeah, I remember. Yep.
It was really, really not great. And so basketball was the last.
And were you
quarter of the fall.
manifesting it on yourself?
Oh yeah, for
Like,
sure.
I'm
my
the
worst.
reason we're 3-9.
Yeah. My self-talk
Like,
is
literally,
so
it's not
terrible.
wrong. It's me.
Yeah, it's me, and
Yeah.
everything's going wrong, and I have no escape now.
I'm supposed to be this guy for this team.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the variable.
The
of what
craziest
we're
part
doing. It
was,
makes sense to me. From
I was
afar.
all-star. I was named the all-star.
I know who you are.
So,
No, really. I remember, actually, I want to throw out a compliment real quick because I just fucking thought of it right now. Back to like my life got real busy. The Knicks have not necessarily been so exciting, and unlike the Jets on Sundays, it's been hard for me to follow the Knicks the last 25 years the way I want to. Now I've gotten to a place where I can afford
or
it.
this summer didn't help you.
No. Dude, I'm on so tilt, I don't even want to go there. I've got a screenshot right now of me FaceTiming with KD. I don't know if I've ever recruited anything harder. I feel, KD, I'm so sorry for the last month of what I put you through. I know everybody put you through shit, but I fucking brought it. I gave it my whole heart. I remember you fucking went crazy early on in your career in Minnesota against the Knicks in one rant. I wasn't catching a lot of games, but that's
31. Yeah,
Yes.
I
I was like, and because I saw you as a kid, like in that game, it was just like, I was like, holy fuck, this guy's real good. Like, I was like, whoa, this guy's way better than I thought. Like, you fucking went crazy. And hit like a late, was it a game winner in that one, or like super late three?
Yeah, so I think I had 28 points and 31 rebounds at the time. I hit a 3, and that put us ahead.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was like literally a standout game for me all time.
Yeah.
Like, one of the more uncomfortably good performances I've watched.
I guess it's all relative when you're talking
Dude,
about
31 and 31 is fucking, no, fuck that, dude.
I guess
That's what's amazing about the
but it just happened to
NBA.
be
Do
your
it against
team.
a team that's like the Sixers from 4 years ago. 31 and 31 is uncomfortable. How many fucking people have ever done 31 and 31? I bet you it's less than 10.
I think before that it was Moses Malone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, nonetheless, it happened. Halftime.
Yeah, it happened.
I suck shit. Fuck this. Oh, and then it becomes the cycle, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, is this going to happen to the one place that I've been able to protect? Which
Yeah.
right?
So that's why I go back to the rage fist. Like when I was young, that's how I used to manifest. And then I always had somewhere to go. Like I go to my room, or I go and break the video game system or something like that. You know. So no, I just was like, I have nowhere to go. There's 23,000 people watching, and that even made it worse. So my heart is speeding up, and I'm thinking I'm having like a cardiac arrest, like, and my whole body's
So
shut
you go to
down.
a trainer?
So I go to I'm running around the locker room, nobody's there. I go straight to my head trainer, Steven Spiro's office. I just fall on the ground and pass out.
Ow.
Like I'm gasping for air. I'm sticking my hand literally down my throat. Like I'm thinking like something's dislodged in there. I'm trying to get something out. And I mean, it was like a full-on fucking panic. I'm gonna die. I don't know what's happening. Full sweats from the game, and this is it. This is the moment. So I ended up going to the, they got me back. They had me on oxygen. They sent me to the Cleveland Clinic to run some tests. Everything checked out, and then at that point, I was just kind of like, well, what the fuck just happened? Yeah. Well, I had an idea. So that I forget what day the game was on, but that was right before the first time I was like, okay, I'm good. Sit there.
Good for you. And when from there did you write the article?
Not to March, because there was still so much going on. I tried to hide it for so long.
Of course.
I had to go through my process. So then,
how many? I apologize because I'm looking at time. I know you guys have a hard stop, so I'm going off of that. Like, how many people reached out to you privately after that article. That, forget about fans.
I didn't know what to expect because my agent was like, all right, so everybody, this is going to be big. I was, maybe, but I'm tired of suffering silently. Like, I want to play all my cards.
Yeah.
And fast forward to now, like, I'm so much more comfortable now with skins because I'm like, this is what you get. And like, I heard you talk about the other day, like, what's your North Star? Like, happiness is my North Star. But that's ambiguous for everybody. It's not defined as a one-size-fits-all model.
That's right.
Like, so I'm
That's actually the number one thing I'm pounding at scale on Instagram while I have to use attention. Like, money can't be it.
No.
Because it actually isn't for almost everybody.
No, it isn't.
And everybody thinks it is.
I'm not saying that money is a
great enabler of things.
And a great currency, sure.
Yes.
But it's not the only currency that matters. For us now, like, it's time. How much time do you have? It's like an elasticity, like between money and time. Like, time is our biggest commodity. 100%. And so that's how I'm trying to figure out, you laughed about my Instagram, it's like, how am I trying to spend my time? And so I'm trying so much more now to just, I'm pressing send on shit. I'm like, I don't care what people think of this. I'm trying to spend positivity.
I'm not laughing. It really makes me happy on some real shit.
See what I mean? Like people are like, oh shit, I'm not going to get out there and
try.
And
by the way, just when everybody looks, there's a lot of attractive people hanging out with each other on Instagram. It just is obvious to me that it's happy. You know, like that's what. And maybe that's because I know a little bit about. Like, I don't know why, but I'm not joking. I'm not just like.
It's authenticity. It took me so long to feel all the way there, and I feel like I'm getting there. But
how many superstars, athletes, celebrities ping you privately after the article?
I mean, the number of, it was probably, I think we got like 8,500 emails within the first 3 days. And I was like, all right, you guys have to email me here so that I can try and get back to and respond to everybody. And then the number just became so outrageous. And entertainers and athletes and musicians, it was, I mean, crazy, in the hundreds. 400 or 500, but mostly it was. I would say the large number. Why it became into the triple digits was because it was athletes, and even Adam Silver has said at every level has said now.
Tired 7-year-olds.
Oh yeah, a lot of football players too.
Listen, I'll be honest.
They're getting hit in the head. A lot of football players.
And even if they're not there yet, they're already, you start becoming scared of it.
Yeah.
Listen,
guys are retiring now. 25.
AJ, Derek Morgan.
Exactly.
I don't know if you saw what he wrote. Like, the proudest thing that has happened in my world that I haven't said out loud is we signed Derek Morgan to Vayner Sports. Yeah. Made him more money off the field than all the things that Vayner Sports brings to football players, and we didn't make a penny. And we knew we weren't going to make a penny because we knew he was too thoughtful and worried about it that he would sign another contract. So we worked with him for 2 years. In the NFL, whoever does the contract gets the dollars, not whoever's the current agent. And it makes me smile every day. And it makes me smile because I'm happy for him. Yeah. Because if we were putting pressure on him to sign one more deal to make us ROI positive, but he took 1 or 2 more hits than he wanted to, fuck, if it would have actually done something, the perception is fucking reality. And when stuff starts getting in your head that way, I mean, like...
I truly believe, too, like, you get what you give. I didn't realize that. Like, that's why I think I'm settled in, too, now, because I think as an athlete, you're burning it at both ends so fast and so quickly, some longer than others, depending on, we could have a whole talk about longevity, of course. But, it comes at you fast. I'm headed into my 12th season. I was just talking about how Tony Parker, and I was putting 55 on us. I was playing KG, Dirk, and all those guys. But I now feel like I have a higher purpose, and I can affect the masses.
Does that make you want to also play a year or 2 more because the platform has got more juice?
For sure,
makes sense.
But yeah, post basketball, I feel like I'm doing a good job of laying the groundwork.
Who did you stumble across in Minnesota, whether on your team or somewhere else, that all of a sudden the last 2 or 3 years you're like, wait a minute, I'm old now, like in that funny way that we talk to each other, and you're like, wait a minute, my second year, that fucking old dude that I understand why he like threw the water at thing, or why he was in the corner yelling at that, like, wait a minute, that was, fuck, I'm gonna do that. Do you have anything like that?
No, I mean, yeah, so there's, I should write a book. I mean, it's like, Colin Sexton, he's 19 years old. I'm sitting there.
The amount of Colin Sexton rookie cards my son and I are picking up right now because we think he's sneaky underrated.
He's sneaky underrated. And he's here. He's here. He's at Basketball City this morning talking to the kids. I'm like, dude, you're fucking 8 years older than me. 5 years older than me.
He's like, hey kids, you're like,
Yeah, he's like, let me tell you what I learned in my career.
Yeah, you're like, sit down.
Yeah, he texted me. He's like, you were here. I was like, bro, you're talking to these kids.
You're a fucking kid.
Yeah, like you just did one thing in like a year removed. No, but he's
Seems like a good kid.
yeah, but that's the craziest part about it. Like he's so young. He doesn't even like. He's a lot of untapped potential, sneaky underrated, as you said, but he's just so young. And then you look at guys like Dirk retiring this year, or Vince Carter. He's still going.
He's never retired. You know that, right?
Yeah, he's right.
No, it's in perpetuity.
Yeah, I'm surprised the Knicks didn't sign him.
Are you just starting to razz?
No,
Or you're just, I mean, the Knicks. By the way, on the record, I think the Knicks are blackballed. On the record, I'm pretty convinced, intuitively.
There's no better place to play.
No, but this offseason was deeply uncomfortable from the way I think about the world. Like the real world is gray, not black and white.
Sure.
I'm in a very scary place of fear. Never fear. Like even when the Jets and Knicks have been at their worst, there's no math that makes sense that they didn't get any of the players, which makes me go into deep conspiracy theory. The Oakley thing, top 50 players got into a weird dinner, decided, and we're done. That's literally what I believe.
Wow.
I hope it's not true, but nothing makes sense. Like, you can't be in that spot where the Clippers and the Nets get here. Like, they had all the leverage, all the math. Anyway, I don't even want to get depressed, like on that. In sports depression, to put in context of the true. Let's do a call. I knew I was going to fuck this up. Let's definitely do a call. Kev, what is your favorite sports team?
Favorite sports
Your
team?
personal, like your team that you root for the most.
So I grew up.
If anybody.
I mean, I grew up watching. It's funny. I was a Niners fan because I grew up perfect time to be. Yeah, and also just right there and within the Northwest. I grew up in Portland, Oregon, and then I was a Mariners fan because they,
Each
everybody. They've been good for
Eckler, all those teams.
Yeah, Jay Buhner. I used to play junior baseball.
By the way, the Jay Buhner for Ken Phelps trade that the Yankees made is all time bad. All time.
Buhner was the man too.
Jay Buhner, and he like had that look before that look existed.
Yeah.
They were bashing. Yeah. He was a beast. They like.
So was Edgar too. Edgar, they just got inducted yesterday.
Edgar's actually the only person that knew how to hit Mariano Rivera ever.
Yeah.
Like literally has the best data.
No way to hit the cutter.
No way. You got something? Max.
Yeah, how's it going?
Max.
It's Gary Vaynerchuk and Kevin Love. How are you?
Good, how are you?
We are well. What's your question?
My question was...
Wait, Max, admit right now that you were stunned that you actually got called and now you're baffled and you have to come up with a question on the spot.
I'm actually... You know what? I knew you were going to ask this question because I watch a ton of your stuff, so I knew you were going to ask this question, and I knew it was going to come up. But I'm actually kind of not.
Good.
Just by watching the comment section.
Yep.
I knew that I was engaging with the people in the comments enough.
Is this a question?
No, he's making a profound statement how he tricked Andy to call him. Good shit, Max. Now, what's the question?
He didn't trick me. I grabbed his number a long time ago.
Yeah, Max, he liked the concept you went with. So,
yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah, no, my question was from like a management perspective, because I manage a lot of different music artists, so it's a little bit out of the realm, but I was wondering, I wanted to get your input on what is the most effective way to deal with and market talent to get it out to the widest audience base.
Got it. So I'll jump in real quick, and then Kev, if you got anything to add, that'd be fun. The deal with part is impossible because they're fucking artists, which means they act like idiots often, right? And what you need to remember, is not to be a dick because they have talent and you don't, and that's why you decided to manage them. Make sense? Like people are always trying to like get artists to be like on time. That's not what they do. They fucking write great songs. They create great beats. They perform on stage. Like that's so. Like I'm always laughing at my manager friends. They're like, "Yo, Gary, yo, can you just talk to this kid? I'm like, dude, you love this kid because he fucking dyed his hair purple and fucking on 1 minute of sleep can go out in front of 40,000 people at Rolling Loud and fucking slay it. Not because he shows up on time for a meeting with me, dick. Right? So I think you need to fucking own what you decided to do for a living and understand you gotta take the good with the bad. That's how you deal with it. You don't dwell on what they suck at. You fucking focus on what they're phenomenal at. As far as getting them out there, it's called fucking SoundCloud and Instagram and YouTube, and I spit it 40 times a day, all the time. Put fucking music out. The end. The same advice.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Is it just a pure content play?
Yes. You're in the content business. Every fucking artist ever sucked until they put a banger out.
Exactly.
Like, everybody sucked until they put out a song that made them not suck. Alanis Morissette, nobody knew, killed it. You understand? It's as simple as that. And now that you have SoundCloud and fucking Spotify and YouTube, there's no more A&Rs and fucking MTV and fuck the labels. It's like, no fucking excuses. Get in studio, make a song, put it out, DM 1,000 influencers, hope somebody shares it, fucking then let the market decide. Like, I know everybody gets mad at me for saying, like, the same advice. It's the right advice. It's like how you get into better shape. Exercise and eating right. Sorry, that's what it is.
Would you do the same thing as like with a clothing brand, with the musical artists as far as the influencers go? Like, would you pay an influencer to?
Yes, but
Okay.
everything needs exposure. So
Gotcha.
either you're so great that Sports Illustrated puts you in it and you get exposure, or you're good. Everything comes back down to merit. Like, I understand how to try to become a basketball player, which is like work on all these skills. But if I wasn't physically inclined to have it, it would mean that I would be a good I'd be about clothing brands. Like, yes, you should overpay. You should pay influencers to rock your shit. But if your shit's whack, or if you overpaid the influencer, your skills in it weren't good enough. So like, it's not a one-size-fits-all advice. It's be great at influencer marketing. There's a reason that VaynerMedia does the work for Fila, and Fila did get rebooted. Because we're the best in the fucking world at what we do. There's a reason that everybody wants to say they have a fashion brand as an entrepreneur on Instagram because they printed 1,000 t-shirts. But being a successful fashion brand versus printing 9 t-shirts and calling yourself a brand because you came up with a funny sentence, those are two very different things. And there's a lot of fuckers on Instagram with funny sentence t-shirt companies.
Yeah.
Execution, bro.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate the time.
You got it, bro. How do you think about fashion? You like it? I see you wearing your fucking Stone Cold t-shirt.
Yeah, we're around this today. This is my.
I see what you're doing. How do you think about it? You like it?
Yeah, I love fashion. And plus, I mean, it's become a huge thing in basketball, especially come playoff time. I mean, guys are
homeboy from college. I mean, he's fucking.
He created.
He's just making. I think Russ is just making shit. I feel like he's sometimes trolling the game. Like, he loves fashion, but some of this shit, I'm like, you know what?
For sure.
He's
but
just
he
like,
knows
you know
it's going to get eyes. It's just like you said. It's going to create content, and everybody's going to send him so much stuff to try to influence the brand.
I cannot.
And it's become a runway. It's become a business.
He's great.
Yeah, he's really, really good. And oh my God, can you imagine what between PJ Tucker, Russ, and James Harden, what that's going to be like?
Yeah.
Hey, Jerry V. How's it going, guys?
Good, man. Say what's up to K-Love.
Hey, Kev.
What's good, buddy?
Hey, actually, my question is, I heard you talking about, being depression and having anxiety attacks and stuff. So my question to you is that how to stay strong and stay focused on your goals while you're going through that.
Yeah, I mean that's super. I mean that's probably the toughest part because a lot of the time, I mean, for me it was basically having blinders on and not seeing the effect I was having not only on myself but other people. And I also read like a cheap novel, like everybody knows when I'm really going through it. But I would say, for me it was chasing basketball. It was chasing my vice. It was chasing what I love. And I always feel like if you chase what you love, everything you love will chase you right back. Everything you want out of this life. But you have to find ways to manage it, especially at your worst times. And a lot of people can't afford a therapist. They can't afford going to see someone and paying for that. So you have to find tools, whether it be meditation, whether it be exercising, getting that, endorphin release, finding ways to deal with your serotonin levels, whether it be medication.
I've noticed a lot of kids hitting me up about eating. Like eating behaviors changed up a lot.
Eating changes everything. I just read
Sinan wants me to like him and his dad is like some crazy Turkish like genius.
Yeah.
We're about to I'm about to go there, Sinan. I told you to back the card. I'm ready.
August 5th.
Take all my blood. Like I'm ready. I'm about to fucking change this shit up.
You can change your life. Like your relationship with your body, I feel like is so key. I mean, I know that but I've lost so much weight. I've kept the inflammation down in my body. I think chronic inflammation, like I've seen it in my father, I've seen it in a ton of people. I've seen it in retired athletes. I've seen it in, we mentioned football players, whether they're retired or not. Like when you feel like shit getting out of bed every day in the morning, you're like, this day's going to suck. This day's going to be terrible.
Pain's bad.
Yeah,
mental or physical.
Well, that's what exactly. But I would just say, finding different ways to manage it, and finding different ways to change the relationship with, whether it be your anxiety, depression, or any phase of mental illness. I'm a type of person that medication has worked for me.
Has?
Yes.
Keep going.
Cognitive behavioral therapy has worked for me as well. And science and data has showed that that can actually prove to be more beneficial over time than meds. So, but get back to the therapist part for a sec. This could be a friend. This could be listening to your podcast, finding ways to deal with other shit, deal with business, deal with anything that you're into. It could be a family member. It could be somebody who a parent of one of your kids' friends. It can be anybody within arm's distance.
It's a place where I tread very lightly because I like talking about shit I know.
Yeah.
And so take it for what it's worth, Gavin. I think one thing that I've seen a ton of messages from is finding somebody who's a little bit further away from your inner circle so it doesn't affect that dynamic has been really fascinating how many people have pinged me.
I've never thought of that before.
Like when it's your mom or your brother, over time, that can create something within that dynamic, and having the luxury of it being a little, if you think about a therapist being
step removed.
Or 3 steps removed.
Sure.
Like friend to friend or acquaintance. It's been really interesting.
And maybe that person it comes from an unbiased point of view. It's not going to ruin your relationship.
Weight, right? You're talking to your mom.
Exactly.
She's thinking about your dad.
Yep.
She's like, there's just so many other variables.
Yeah.
That's what that's why the therapist so far removed has such value.
They'll probably catch something.
Back to your point, not being able to afford it. How does it? Sometimes. One kid wrote me this manifest. I love reading my comments. It's how I learn so much insights that I'm not going through. This kid talked about something of me talking about like not overjudging yourself. It led him to another thing. Then he read something about something else. What it led to was it being a teacher in his school that he doesn't even have as a teacher.
Sure.
He found it as a removed thing. Like it really worked for him, and I was like, ooh, that's. You think about the DNA of a teacher, they want to help, a lot of them.
Yeah. My counselor in high school, when I told her that I wanted to go to North Carolina or UCLA, these places, she was like, your GPA doesn't indicate. I was like, no, I'm going to go to UCLA, then I'm going to go,
Were you like, hey, I dropped 30 a fucking game. Do you understand how this actually is?
Yeah, exactly. But I was just like, to the point, like there's we talked about the parenting and some of them are just fucking setting their kids up for failure.
It's like practical optimism is amazing, and everything else sucks. Pessimism sucks. Delusion sucks.
But instead of just saying that, why don't you say, okay, now show me the tool, show me the way in order to get to that point.
Yeah, do you beat yourself up? Like if I ask you that question, how do you go with that?
I'm sorry, what was that again?
I said, if I ask you, do you beat yourself up, right? Like something happens if you're the one beating yourself up. Is that like part of your framework?
Yes, I definitely do that. I would say, like, sometimes I just I definitely beat myself up, for sure.
I've just been spending so much time, like, with myself. This is why nobody's really seen any content about it. Because, again, because of what's going on with me, I want to be very careful to stay in my lane and not overstep. But it's just, I got nothing else to say other than, man, I just want to say one thing. I got so much love for you. Please understand that the voice that beats yourself up, I genuinely believe this. I really don't think it's your voice. I think it's a voice that's been input. And I think once you understand that, it liberates you when you start realizing you're not the person booing yourself. And if you can figure that part out, if that can start the part of a thesis or something that you discover, I think it can be liberating in a way that you can't believe what that will do for you, bro.
Yeah, and to know that you're not alone too. Like I think it's predisposition. Like we're all taught early on when we start speaking and start, absorbing what our parents are saying, our people around us are saying. We are kind of taught how to think, and that voice in your head, that narrative, that me, can really fuck you up.
Real quick.
Really quick. So until you start doing that work, and then continue, because you can have. It's like I relate to basketball. You can have a great game, and that feeling only lasts for 24 to 48 hours. Whereas you have a terrible game, it's a national TV game, and you feel like you're set up for failure. That could last for 2 weeks. That's how negative thoughts are.
And I'm also trying to think about how to turn it positive, because like one of the things that's really interesting about me is I do not smell roses. So like back to the Yankees and the Rangers, I dropped them the second after the championship. Like I'm trying to think about why I talk about process a lot of times is like to your point, the national televised game, like it's not that I dwell about it. I don't know, there's something I've been thinking a lot about lately, which is like with everything that's going on with me, I talk a lot about not hearing the boos. I don't give a fuck what you think, but it goes both ways. I also don't hear the accolades. Like so many people, as my notoriety and awareness grows and things that are going on with me, they're always like, man, you're so humble. And every time I hear somebody say that, I say it's because I can't hear your boos. That is literally what happens. When somebody, because I'm expected, especially the way I am on video and on stage, they get confused by like the humility when they actually get to know me.
Sure.
And I'm like, and it's so funny how intuitive I feel that's completely laddered to me not hearing people that shit on me. Like I don't get high when they cheer, and I don't get like low.
It's we say in NBA, fail quickly, but it's also having success quickly as well. Like as
I appreciate it, Gav. I wish you well, bro. Really, thanks for calling.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you. Have a good one.
Kev, one of my favorite things in the world of sports that maps to life is when the home team boos the home team after the road team went on an 11-0 run and you call a timeout. And I've been thinking about this for 2 years. I don't know what it is about that singular moment in all the sports I watch. Like I love box. One of my favorite fighters of all time just passed away, got hit by a car. Sweepy Whitaker. Pernell Whitaker, I don't know if you know that name, and I loved him for defense. He was Mayweather before Mayweather defense, and I'm a counterpuncher as a businessman, so I associate with him. And
I would be like the Tyson Fury.
I get it. He's so charismatic.
He's the best. And he has a great story too. He should be on here.
I'd like to get him on here. Tyson, if you're listening, hit me up. I don't know what it is about the home team letting the road team go on an 11-0 run, timeout, and the whole fucking place, everywhere, even like the best teams. Like, by the way, ironically, back to a meta story, I went to the Knicks-Cavs opener when LeBron came back. Yeah, best. So pumped. So being in that game, right? Obviously,
like that left wing,
yes.
Mid-range,
so like even like all the fucking accolades and Bron's back in that game. It's the first game back. Everyone's in euphoria. Knicks go on like a 7-0 run, timeout, boo. And I sit there and I'm like, there is something about this home. Back to how I think about life.
It's fragile. It's what have you done for me lately? It's like.
It also makes me want people to think about life that way, which is like you could have a shitty 3 years, and it's still just the second quarter.
Yeah.
Life just went on a 7-0 run on you. Like, what's the score at 0-0? I don't know. I mean, Bulls, who I hate with all my heart, some of those road Knick games that I went to back in the day, like, fuckers, down 13-0 to start the game, boo. And I'm like, fuck. And there's something about, like, how I think about that. How I think, watching Wimbledon the other day. Joker, like, nothing. Joker's by far my favorite tennis player, by far. So I'm in this bar as the match is in the 5th set, and the whole bar is going nuts for Federer.
Of course.
And I'm sitting there watching, rooting for Joker quietly, because I'm with the fam and I'm trying not to make attention. I'm trying to stay private. And Joker, that 9-minute game where Federer almost came back from 40 love, Joker breaks through and wins it, and I go nuts. And the whole bar looks at me. The whole bar looks at me. And then like 2 guys laughed, and they came up to me like, "You're not really rooting for Joker. You're just doing that." Like literally verbatim asked me if I just did that for show. I was like, "I'm rooting for fucking Joker." And Joker, I think at his best is when he takes on the role of the villain.
Right, but he's trying to embrace. He wants to be well liked.
Of course, because he's got fucking fuckface Nadal and Federer loved so much.
Sure,
there's no way you're gonna win that game.
No way. You're never gonna win that.
He is gonna win that game. I'll tell you when. When he's old. When they're gone,
Sure.
he's the old man.
Because they feel like
100%. It's the same way I feel about like Kobe. I hated him my whole career, like his whole career, until when I felt he lost a little bit of a step.
Sure.
I'm like, okay, now I want him to like it's what America does: rise, crash, right? So, and I'm all underdog, but like the face he made, like nothing speaks to me more than Joker's face when he fucking is in that match. The whole world, fuck the audience at Wimbledon, is rooting against him. And he looks at everybody and says, fuck you. I love that.
I agree that he has to take on that villain role. I think I could get him. Potentially could get him the most majors ever.
I fully believe it.
Yeah.
And it's not naturally
Because
who
what
he
happens
is.
when those two guys are up?
Watching it, when he absorbs it and takes it on, you know what the breakthrough of his career from